Lacey Everett here with the Minds in Motion dance series. If you love this video and you think it would benefit someone else, send it to them. And also make sure we are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Today's guest is Tiege Dooley-Panko. She is a writer, host, and hilarious comedian. She's interviewed countless celebrities, been in movies, commercials, music videos, and she was a former Laker girl with me. If you struggle with motivation and need some self-care tips, you've gotta watch this. Tiege also shares some restful awareness tips and how to conquer anxiety. Hello, Tiege!
Hi, Lacey. I'm so excited you're doing this.
Oh, thank you. I'm truly honored that we get to talk with you because you're a very popular girl. So I'm grateful that everyone gets to hear about some of the tips and tricks that you have, which are phenomenal. And with that, so you are a hilarious comedian, a writer, an actor, a dancer, a host. You interviewed countless celebrities. And with that comes a lot of job interviews and auditions. And then once you get the job, it's like, oh gosh, I have to perform. I have to do well. And I have to get on camera or I have to get on stage. And that can lead to a lot of anxiety, which leads to performance anxiety. So I'm curious if you can help us with that and how to conquer our anxieties.
Yeah. So I am a ball of anxiety. I am never not anxious, but I do think that makes me more motivated in some ways. I think, like using what scares you. I always lean into things that scare me, but a few tips and tricks. If we're talking tips and tricks, I think about when I do stand up, I'm always really nervous because before like really big shows, I would always do, I don't know if you've ever done any like space work or spatial work. I would always sit like in the back of the show and I would kind of like have my like I would be like literally lounging like this and just like taking up physical space. And for some reason that like kind of calmed me down. I think I do a lot of like spatial work to get rid of my anxiety or try to alleviate it a little bit before performing.
That's a unique one. So what you kind of do is just be in the space and notice the space around you, sit back. Is that kind of how it goes?
Yeah, I think in just like being like kind of like grounding myself, I think in that way. And instead of being, because I'm like, when I get anxious, I'm like up here. And I think like when I want to calm down, I'm like lounge, legs out. I just like take up space, like kind of grounds me before I go out and perform, actually. Yeah. So that's one of the things I do.
It sounds like you kind of just let yourself loose and you allow yourself to just be loose. Like, okay, Teague, you're here, you're in this space, chill. Like, and you just give that moment to yourself, which seems like has helped you a lot.
Totally. And also like, especially with stand up or anything that you want to do and like look confident, because most of the time I'm so nervous, but like you want to look like you're not nervous. So I think that's one of those things where you just like are like, no, I'm here, it's chill, and kind of like convince yourself it's chill, and then all of a sudden it's chill. And then it's fine and you're no longer anxious. So it's kind of like a mind game, I think, in a way. But yeah, that helps me.
I wanted to ask too, because I've known you for a while and I've seen you, Teague, keep becoming such a wonderful person and accomplishing so many things that I truly think is absolutely impeccable. And I'm just curious because a lot of people struggle with staying motivated. And so I'm just curious what motivates you and how you deal with it when you're like, oh, I don't want to do this today, but I got to.
Yeah, so I'm not like the most motivated person in the world. But
Which is crazy because you've accomplished so much.
I appreciate those kind words. That's very nice, Lacey. You don't see me the days that I'm like crying and like really trying to figure it out, but those days do happen a lot.
But those days are also important. That's important to let yourself feel and to let yourself cry.
Yeah. Oh my God. A good cry is like a glass of fine wine. It is.
Yeah.
needed. But I think that I spend a lot of time like writing, and I spend a lot of time also like almost every day I have a to-do list. So I will go
I
through
love that.
like a to-do, like so silly, but like goals kind of, but really it's like, this is what I want to do today. Just so at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, at least I did a few things. And even if it wasn't like groundbreaking, I didn't like write a new script, I didn't do anything crazy, but I did my laundry and I was like able to like cross that out. So I think like, you know, I take the days that I feel good and about doing things and I like utilize those to the fullest capacity. And then if there's days that I'm not, I'm just like, okay, if I like make some food and like chill and like don't have a panic attack, that's a good day. So
Yeah.
yes. And then you'll like have a day where you're like, oh, I did actually finish that script. So you can like cross off a big one.
And I also wanted to ask self-care tips because with anxiety, like we have to have self-care. A lot of people don't really prioritize that. Society, the society that we live in is so overstimulated and on to the next thing, and whether it's your schooling or your work, and we're just so busy. Over time, when that builds up, you get sick. If you don't give yourself self-care, you can get sick. So I'm just curious if you have any tips on that, or what your self-care looks like.
Yeah, it's not incredible, mind you. But the few things I like to do, and I am one of those people that I'm like overstimulated all that. This is an energy drink, and it is unnecessary for me to be drinking this right now. But I'm that person, and I'm like, oh, this like all day. So I think for me personally, what I like to do to try and like is just like find a quiet space, which is by the way like torturous for me. I hate it because I'm like I want
It's
to be working on
hard.
something. Oh my god, so hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
But I found in the quarantine, I really like baths, and I've never been a bath person, and I'm lucky enough to live in an apartment with a bath now. I mean, it's not a nice bath, it's a shower bath, but it works to calm me
Yeah.
down. And I'm also going to this place that does like, it's like an individual sauna. They have like a bunch of individual saunas. This place called Sweat Theory. It's plug for Sweat Theory. But it's kind of nice. You like totally like disconnect your phone. You're like away from everything for like an hour, and it's like hot. You just sweat it out, a little detox. So I've kind of become addicted to that in quarantine. It's just trying to get away from all the noise, but it's hard to do, obviously. So
Yes. I've actually, self-disclosure, I've actually gotten into them too.
they're
Over
good. Baths, who knew?
I,
2021, the year of baths.
the year of baths, I know. And after workouts, I'll like put Epsom salts in it or something. It's good for you.
So
I don't know,
good.
just like the hot water, it just feels good.
Yeah, I know. Baths are great. Even like just like going to a different place, like getting out of your apartment, especially in quarantine. Like I would just drive to Santa Monica just to like look at a different place because I was in my apartment for the whole day. So yeah,
Yes.
so I think just like changing what you're seeing and what you're like feeling and that kind of stuff. So
Absolutely. Change of scenery. That's so healing in itself. I just had a thought. What
yeah.
have you ever had a fear when you're doing stand up? Like, what if they don't laugh?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Yes. Have I have bombed, like fully bombed at comedy shows. And it's not fun. It's like you get up there and you're like, oh God, this isn't going well. And then all of a sudden it's a snowball. And then my calm that I go up with becomes this again, like halfway through the
Ooh.
set. And it's just like very hard to get out of. But the thing that like keeps me going, especially with stand up, is like I will remember like after like I fully bomb and like cry on my way home at a certain show, I have to remember those days that I did like similar sets or similar jokes, and like people came up to me after the show and they're like, "Oh my God, that story was totally my life. That was so funny. Thanks for sharing that," or whatever it was. So sometimes, and that's the reason you do it, right? Like that's why you do stand up, and that's why you do like that's why I want to write. It's just like to kind of like illuminate other people's stories and make people feel like less alone in whatever they're experiencing. So I feel like that I have to remember those on the days that I bomb, because bombing is one of those things I guess that just happens in stand up. who knew? Who wanted that to happen? Everyone's like, yeah, obviously. I'm like, well, no, I didn't think that was gonna fully happen. And then it happens and you're like, this is the worst thing ever. But yeah, no, I feel like just remembering those times that it did work. And I think that could be applied to like a lot of things in life. It's like you had one bad day at work, but like remember the day that you made an impact? That was cool, right? So I don't know. I think that that's what keeps me going until I stop, you know.
Absolutely. That was wonderful to hear, because it is so true. I think we're all so focused on, what we haven't achieved or what we did wrong.
Oh yeah.
And it's really nice to hear that, because it's like, wait, we can remember like, oh wait, that was pretty cool what I just did the other day, or that, there were times when it did work.
Yeah,
And
yeah, for sure.
this was great. Thank you so much, Tiege.
Oh my God, Lacey, thank you so much for having me. This was so great. I'm happy that you're doing this. And all of your listeners, watchers are lucky to have you.
Thanks, Tiege. I did not pay her to say that.
She did, under the table.
Yeah, thank you, Tiege. Well,
Yeah.
take care, and I wish you the best of luck with your future endeavors.
Love you. Bye.